Hello and welcome to another Android programming tutorial. In this tutorial I will be producing an application which will display a rainbow of colours scrolling up the screen of your Android smartphone. As you can see, the colours are scrolling up the screen. It won't be as jerky on your smartphone, it's just that this is how it looks on my laptop. The shades of colour that are generated are generated using a procedure which I found in a book called 3D Computer Graphics by Alan Watt, 2nd edition, pages 418 to 419. As you can see, at the bottom of the page, there's a procedure HSV to RGB, which converts from hue saturation value to RGB, to the more familiar RGB, red, green, blue color space. Here's the rest of the procedure. Okay, this is the procedure which converts from HSV, hue saturation value, color space, to RGB color space. This little diagram here is to show you what a hue saturation value space looks like. You have three different values: hue, which is on this horizontal axis at the bottom, and value that goes saturation, which is on the bottom horizontal axis, and value which goes up vertically, and hue, which rotates perpendicularly to the value axis and at the same level as the saturation axis, rotates round. So if you think of, for example, you have saturation and values of 1, and you rotate the hue round the value axis. It starts at red, then goes to yellow, then to green, then to cyan, then to blue, then to magenta, then back to red, giving you a rainbow of colours. Okay, so the HSV will actually, if you put on those three values into HSV, it will convert to RGB, ready for output to the screen of your smartphone. Now we're going to create the skeleton application, create a new Android smartphone Android application project, and we're going to call it Rainbow. So if we call the application, give the application name of Rainbow, and then change the package name to com.paad.rainbow, and leave the project name the same as the application name. Change the theme to none, and then proceed. Then proceed again. Then choose the icon for the application. I'm going to use the company logo. Okay, here we go. and proceed. Then proceed. Call the main activity, give the name of the activity of rainbow with capital R. Then proceed, then finish. This takes a little while to do to create a new Android application. We'll have to wait a little while. It's taking a bit of a long time. Here we go. Now I have to change a few things in this application before it will run, simply because there's something wrong with the setup. We're going to be using a plain activity, not an action bar activity, so I have to take this line out. Change the activity to just a plain activity, and then take out these. We're not going to have an options menu, so take out these overridden functions. And I'll resolve this reference to an activity. Okay. Now we need to change the styles. Take out all of the styles. Now to change the menu. Take out the the menu item. Save all that. Now to open the manifest and take out the theme. Take out the Hello World message. Save it and compile it. And then this skeleton application should run on the smartphone. There we go then, we can see the rainbow application running on the smartphone. Now we'll get on to the application proper to display a rainbow of colours scrolling up the screen. Right, the first thing I'm going to do is, in the main layout, I'm going to change both of the relative layouts to linear layouts. And then I'm going to take out these last 5 lines of the opening linear layout tag, and then put in 1 line. The orientation, set it to vertical. Then I'm going to add another linear layout within this linear layout that will hold the view which will display the rainbow colours. There we go. Call this rainbow layout. Is the handle to the linear layout which will hold the view. That width, which is going to be match parent, and then add the layout height, which is also going to be match parent. Then add the orientation, which is going to be vertical. That's the end of that linear layout. That's all I need to do. Now we're going to go back to the main activity. Add a variable to hold the linear layout. Handle. Import that and resolve that reference. Then we're going to add an object which is called Rainbow View. This is the view that will display the colours scrolling up the screen. It's not resolved at the moment because I haven't typed it in. So we say LL equals linear layout. Find view by ID. Well, that will resolve if I clean the application. Okay. Now we're going to create our Rainbow View object. And to the constructor of the Rainbow View object, I'm going to pass in the application context. And this activity object. And to the linear layout, I'm going to add the Rainbow View object. That's the end of the main activity. Now we're going to create the Rainbow View class. Which extends view. Now the first thing we're going to do is create a variable to hold the activity that's passed to this class, the main activity. Then we're going to create some variables which will hold the width, the height, and the size. Which is the minimum of the width of the height of the Android smartphone that you're using. Then we're going to create a private variable, which is an array list of colours, which is essentially your rainbow. Array list of them, of RGB colour objects. All these hues. So before we go on, I'm going to, in this class, I'm going to create the RGB color class. This class contains 3 double variables R, G, and B to hold the RGB values of the color of a color. And then we're going to create a constructor which will initialize these to 0, these 3 values to 0. So HSV to RGB, that function will actually leave the RGB values in the scale 0 to 1, so we're going to scale them to later to from 0 to 255, which is what the device expects the value range to be. The screen device. Okay, and that's that class finished. I go back to Rainbow View and can continue with that. As you see, it's been resolved now. The first thing we're going to do, we'll create a RGB color object. This is as a scratch variable used in the program. Now we're going to create the constructor for Rainbow View. So we've got a context, and activity. Pass this context back to the base constructor of a view. and save the activity to the class variable. And call the initialization procedure or rainbow view. Now we will declare the initialization function of rainbow view. We'll get the display object, which will be used to get the width and height of the screen. Just to resolve the display object. Then we get the width and height of the display. Declare size. Equals the minimum of width and height, as I said earlier. In fact, we don't have to declare another new variable, we'll just use the class variable. And of the activity of this object, this view object, we set the minimum height, or minimum width first, to width, and set the minimum height to height. Then we set that out params to width and height. Now we initialize hues, which is to hold our rainbow to be a new array list of RGB color. We start with a hue aligned with the saturation axis of 0, and then we go around the view axis, the value axis until rotate around the value axis until we reach a complete rotation, to 360 degrees, or less than 360 actually. Then we use the scratch variable to convert HSV to RGB. Usually this function will be written later in this particular object, in this particular class. We have a hue, we toss in the hue, and then we say the saturation is 1 and the value is also 1. Then we scale. Scale the RGB in the range to 0 to 255, and then we add this object to the array list. Add this rainbow color to the array list, and then we add a degree to hue. 1 degree. Now that's the end of that function. I'm going to add some more functions which are actually housekeeping functions for view objects. I get this from another project. You'd have to type this in too, but I'm not going to explain it. I'm just going to copy it in. So, as you can see, I copied in these functions. I'll just show them first on the screen. They're needed for using your view object. And this is our HSV to RGB. I'm not going to go into this function. It's in, if you want to read about it, it's in 3D Computer Graphics by Alan Watt, pages 418 to 419, second edition. If you want to understand how to convert from HSV hue saturation value to RGB. Now we're going to get on to another overridden function on draw, which actually displays the rainbow pass in you have to pass in what's called canvas variable, which is what you use to display, which is the display surface which you write to display something within a view. I'll just resolve this canvas object. Now, firstly, I'll just put some variables in. this variable holds the value of the hue that starts at the top of the screen for every refresh. And we change this for every refresh so that you get the effect of scrolling the colours. Then we get a paint. Type in a paint variable to hold the details of the lines of colour that are displayed. Now we're going to type in an RGB colour object to hold the current colour, and then HueInk, which is to display the colours going down the screen, from getting them from the array list of colours that you've created earlier. And this starts at the top of the screen with hue, value hue. We're going to have a step count here, which starts at 0 and goes to 5. So for every line, for every 5 lines down the screen will be the same colour. So we count 5 for each line down the screen. When it reaches 5, we change the HueInk. And this is the loop which goes down the screen, the Y value down the screen, starting from the top. Create a new line object, a new paint object. Get the first colour. We're going to use HueInk to refer to the colour. We're going to pass in the RGB values that we want using RGB colour. Variable object. Set the width of the line to 1. and set the style to stroke. And then simply draw the line to the screen. Starting from 0, Y, to this width -1, Y, pass in the line variable, line paint object. And now we're going to deal with the step. It's greater than or equal to 5, then we're going to increment hue ink and set step count to 0. If hue ink is oversteps the 360, then you set hue ink to to 0 again. And then increment step count. And you increment hue by, which is the colour that starts at the top of the screen, by 3. And if it gets to be more than the 360, then we set it to 0 again. Then invalidate the view so that it refreshes the view to display another rainbow, but slightly scrolled up the screen, slightly differently. Okay, that's the end of the program. Let's see it working. I'm going to do a typo and bracket here. Save it. Save all. Go back to the main activity. See everything's resolved. Yeah. And let's see it running. Oh, we've got an error. Let's find the error. Alright. Take out this line which is not needed. Clean the application again. Okay, run the application. And there we have it, our rainbow. Thank you for watching this presentation, this tutorial, and come again next time for another one.